Hi, I'm Movie Man. I'm an octopus who reviews movies, and today's review is going to be on. This is my first movie review of 2025, and yeah, despite that, I know this is technically a 2024 movie, as you know. It premieres at the Venice Film Festival in like late August of 2024, and I know this was released during Christmas time in other territories, but we only got the movie there this past weekend. January 10th is when we got this movie in Ireland. And honestly, this movie did look really interesting to me. Like, it looks like an interesting concept. I mean, to be fair, I'm always kind of a sucker for some movies, like this. Yeah, a new A24 movie, a good cast in this as well. And of course, this is directed by Halina Reijn, who also directed Bodies that came out in 2022. And may I remember, I actually went to go see that movie when it came out in Ireland on my 16th birthday. And I mean, I really enjoyed the movie back when I saw it that first time. I don't know if I like it as much in second viewing. It's maybe one that's probably worth a rewatch, but I did enjoy it when I first saw it anyway. But now we have the same director once again, Halina Reijn, with her new movie Babygirl. But yeah, so anyway, I was looking forward to giving this one a watch, as it looks like a really interesting movie. But yeah, so we got this there in Ireland this past weekend. I went to go and see it for myself. On the day of its release, yeah. And yeah, the day I'm recording this, by the way, is January 15th. So it's been a few days now since I went to see the movie for myself, but yeah, having been to see Babygirl for myself now, what did I think of it? Yeah, overall, I have to say that I really enjoyed the film now. Well, I know this one got like a generally positive reception from critics. I have seen kind of some bit of a mixed response to one. I have seen plenty of good reviews for it, but I have seen some reviews from people that haven't really been liking the movie very much, and I can kind of see why to an extent. Because yeah, to be fair, this movie definitely is not gonna be for everyone, I can tell. Yeah, I know, like, for like a lot of people, this one is just not gonna work at all, like, with the premise of it. But for me personally, for the most part, I honestly really enjoyed this film. I had a good time with it, honestly. Um, Now, yeah, in terms of getting into like my actual thoughts on it, the cinematography in this movie, I have to say, is really good. I mean, to be fair, I said this in the past, A24 can generally have like really well shot movies and stuff. This film is pretty much no exception. Like, honestly, it's a well shot film. I particularly like, because there's a lot of like overhead shots, like we like see like overhead, and it's like kind of zooming over like the city and the factory and stuff. Yeah, honestly, there are actually some genuinely good shots. And like there's also a scene set at a rave party, and there's obviously some good cinematography in that as well. Although in case you do suffer from photosensitive epilepsy, and I just warn you that scene is gonna get very flashy, but yeah, but it is a well shot film, and like obviously with this movie being set around Christmas time, I think overall like it does well, getting like that like Christmas atmosphere to it, and kind of giving off that whole style from like all these settings and stuff. But yeah, overall I have to say the cinematography in the movie is good. I think the editing in the film is pretty good as well. And the thing with this film is that like in terms of its editing, like the movie is cutting like through like a lot of scenes and stuff, like the way like all these scenes are cut and stuff, like you know there's like plenty of different like scenes going on, like the movie does like kind of cut through like a lot of stuff, and like I'll get more into this in a bit, but like I think the first little bit of the movie, like it's not particularly really bad, but like there's kind of some like parts, right, it's not like really getting too interesting. Like the movie does kind of take a little bit to actually get to some of the really interesting stuff, but from that point on, I think it does overall pretty well in terms of the editing, like in terms of how like we're cutting and showing like through all this different stuff going on, and like there's one or two kind of little montage scenes in the film, like I will say there is this one montage scene which I'll talk a bit more about in a while. I actually did really enjoy that scene, and I thought that scene was honestly pretty well edited. But yeah, overall, I have to say the editing in this movie was generally overall pretty good. Now in terms of the film's pace, now this movie is not too long. Um, I believe the runtime for this film is an hour and 48 minutes. Yeah, now, in terms of my pacing, this is kind of where, some of my issues with the film lie a bit. Like, I think, like, the movie kind of does take a little bit for, things to start picking up, for things to get like genuinely really interesting. Kind of issue that I have with the movie. This was actually a very similar issue that I had with Saltburn, because remember Saltburn? How can we all forget that film? Yeah, Saltburn. As much as I really enjoyed that movie, I think like kind of my main issue with it was that like I felt as if the first kind of half an hour of the movie like kind of wasn't really all that interesting. Like I got like all its purpose in the story and everything, but like I don't know, it just felt like the movie didn't exactly really pick up until like we got through that first half an hour. To be honest, this movie kind of has a bit of a similar problem. Like we have the first bit of the movie where like we're just kind of getting introduced to everything and stuff. And like, don't get me wrong, it's not like bad or just completely miserable to watch. Like, I mean, I do get like that the movie does kind of have all these scenes, and so you know like it can kind of establish everything in it, and like you know kind of get us like kind of prepped up for everything and stuff. I get all that, but I just feel like the movie kind of took a little too long to get to when things were getting interesting and stuff. Like and now eventually the movie does get there, and like it starts to get like genuinely engrossing. Like I just feel like the first little bit of the movie just kind of could have been paced a bit better and stuff. As to where like it just got a bit more engaging and stuff. But like other than that, the movie is kind of paced fine. But like I will say, I think the film does feel a bit too long. Like in spite of its runtime, like particularly towards kind of the film's third act, I towards the climax, I did kind of start to feel that the movie, kind of drags a bit and stuff, and like I was kind of thinking like, are they gonna get on with it and stuff, but yeah, I do think the film felt a bit long in that regard, but overall I think the movie was paced fine, but like I just feel like they just could have done better with it, to like where it didn't quite feel quite as long, and just maybe pace the first bit of the movie a bit better and stuff. Yeah, for me it was kind of the middle of the movie where it was definitely paced the best, but I mean the pacing overall was fine, just could have been better. But now in terms of the sound and music in the film, I overall I think some of the sound design is pretty decent. Not like absolutely amazing or anything, but like it's okay for what it's meant to be. In terms of the film's like score overall, I will say the movie actually does have a pretty good score. Not gonna lie. I will say fair play to the movie's composer, because like he actually did a genuinely good job like with the score in this movie. So I'm not gonna lie, I actually did like really like some of the tracks in this film. Like I mean overall I thought like the music that he came up with here was actually genuinely really good. But I mean, also I do want to mention, as I said earlier, there's a montage in the film, and well, I won't get into the specifics of what happens in the montage, but all throughout it we hear the song "Father Figure" by George Michael. Yeah, if you've seen this movie, then you know exactly what I'm talking about. I will say I really enjoyed like that whole like montage and stuff. Honestly, it might have actually been like my favorite scene in the whole film. Like, and the full film actually does play like a good bit of the song, which is nice to see. But yeah, how like they're able to incorporate that whole song like into like kind of the themes of the film. It actually really fits like with it and stuff. Also, I think they did a good job like incorporating that into the movie. But yeah, overall, I will say in terms of the music in this movie, they did a good job. Now, in terms of the characters and the acting, so we get into starting things off with our main protagonist of this film, Romy Mathis, and yeah, basically she's like the CEO of this like tech company, and overall I thought she was a good protagonist. Like, I thought she was actually a well written character, and like because I thought the movie did a good job of actually getting us to relate to her character. Because despite like her, being a CEO and like being kind of a bit higher in power than like a lot of us are and stuff, the movie does a good job of like actually being able to make her kind of feel like a human being and stuff, and like kind of her whole kind of character arc in the film. It's actually like believable enough, and like I could kind of potentially see it happening. And like I'm sure like, there'll be a bit of a relatability out of her character with like certain viewers and stuff. So I thought like, the way that they were able to make her character feel more human and stuff, they did that very well. And also I gotta give props to Nicole Kidman, because honestly she did a very good job in this film. Like, this is definitely such like a really kind of daring role. Like especially if you know like what's happening in the movie and stuff, like this was genuinely like a bit of a daring role. And honestly I thought she did very well with this, and she did a good job playing her character and stuff, and really kind of helping Romy feel like believable and stuff. So overall I have to say she did a very good job here. And we also have kind of the other character in the movie, Samuel, who is basically the young intern who he shows up at Romy's job, and like yeah, he's basically the one who kind of like gets everything in motion and stuff. Like yeah, he was a good character. Like I mean, you can kind of definitely kind of feel like a bit of that slightest bit of like that kind of edginess, from his character, like what he exudes and stuff. But he's genuinely, a compelling character to watch. And like I think a lot of that does definitely come down to the performance from Harris Dickinson. Like, he honestly does a really good job in this movie. Like, as I said, his character, he gives off, like a lot of that, aura, as the kids say. Like, he gives off, like, kind of a bit of that edge, just a bit of that kind of slyness to his character and stuff. Yeah, and like, he does a good job of, actually making it feel believable and stuff. Like, yeah, overall, I have to say, he did very well in the movie, and like, while his character may not have been particularly likable, you were able to get with his character and stuff, so, yeah, overall, he did a very good job in this as well. Now, like, there are other characters in the movie, but like, they're not exactly too important to discuss. What I mean, we do have also Antonio Banderas in this movie. That's right, Puss in Boots himself is in this film, and he plays Jacob, who is basically Romy's husband, and like he's not really given like a whole lot here compared to Kidman and Dickinson, but he does kind of get a bit more to do kind of around the film's third act, and like honestly he does well, playing like Romy's loving husband and everything and stuff. He did well with his role, and there's also a role in this from Sophie Wilde. That's right, Sophie Wilde. Of course, I will remember from A24's Talk to Me that came out in 2023, which I really enjoyed that movie. yeah, Sophie Wilde actually has a role in this. She's basically like Romy's assistant and stuff, and like she's in this movie for a bit. Like I don't think like she's given like really like a lot to do in terms of her acting, but like honestly, I thought she did do well enough for what was kind of just a supporting performance. She did well enough playing a believable assistant, and it is nice seeing her again after Talk to Me, seeing her get a bit more work and stuff. But I thought she did well enough in this movie. But overall, I have to say, I thought like while some of these characters may not be like exactly very likable, like I thought they were like believable and compelling, and well, it came down to the castle, especially like from Nicole Kidman and Harris Dickinson, who like both especially did really well. But yeah, the other supporting turns like from Antonio Banderas and Sophie Wilde did pretty well also. So yeah, I'd say overall the characters and the acting were both very good. Now, in terms of the plot of this movie, now, like, in terms of what's kind of, like, the basic synopsis of this film, it's one that, it's a bit hard to explain, cause the thing is, like, it's a bit inappropriate for me to like actually kind of get into some of this stuff like on YouTube. I don't want to be saying like a lot of this stuff like on YouTube, but I'll just kind of describe it without getting kind of too intimate. But yeah, basically, Nicole Kidman's character Romy, like, she's not exactly like very satisfied, with like her husband in a way, because the basic two of them, they go and they be having fun, if you know what I'm saying. He enjoys it, but she doesn't enjoy it that much. Like after they're done, she goes and she runs off and she goes watching something else, just to get that enjoyment. I'm not outright saying it, but you can probably guess what I'm talking about. But yeah. So then once Samuel shows up, he basically seduces Romy. He kind of brings her in, and like they start kind of having a bit of an affair, and then she kind of starts to get some of that satisfaction out of it. Okay, obviously a lot of that like is a bit hard for me to explain. As I said, I don't want to get like too into specific details of it on YouTube, but I think you can pretty much guess what I'm trying to get at here. But like, despite how awkward it is for me to explain, it is like genuinely an interesting concept. Like especially like, for like an erotic thriller. Like this movie's that it definitely has like some connections, like a lot of like erotic thrillers from back in the day. Like you think of films like Fatal Attraction and Basic Instinct and stuff. Yeah, this movie's definitely like really similar to like some of those movies. Like in terms of this whole kind of plot, I think it does well with it. Yeah, it tells like this good story of this woman, she's not getting much of that enjoyment in her life, but this young man shows up and now suddenly she's starting to get that enjoyment. I think overall it does pretty well in like actually telling that whole story and stuff, and like it's compelling to watch for most of it, and like yeah, honestly it is a bit of an enjoyable movie. Like there's some kind of funny moments in there, and like it's, as I said, like, it's very compelling. Like I mentioned earlier, like that whole montage scene with George Michael's father figure. As I said, I do really enjoy, that whole montage and stuff. But like overall, like in terms of like this plot, how they were like able to present like some of these kind of themes and stuff. Overall, I thought they did well enough with it. Now, like, only thing is, I just feel like the movie, kind of like gotten into everything a bit sooner and stuff. So it's just it kind of takes a bit, a tiny bit for Romy and Samuels, eventually get together for things to start happening and stuff. But it eventually gets there, and overall, I think it does well enough with it. So yeah, overall, I think the plot of the movie is very good. In terms of the narrative structure, it kind of is, the one plot with like, Romy's not getting that satisfaction in her life, but Samuel shows up and he starts basically giving her that satisfaction. Like that kind of is, the whole plot with this one. And yeah, like I think overall it does well with this. Like as I said, it's a good erotic thriller. It's compelling to watch, and yeah, as I said, there's good performances that really help drive it. And like overall, it does well in terms of the themes that it tries to present and stuff. And as I said, there are some like kind of montages in here that kind of help with the structure a bit. In terms of like kind of making it feel a bit believable and stuff. Like yeah, overall, I think in terms of being able to tell like this one narrative, how it presents it and stuff. As I said, they did well with this. I said I just wish that like they kind of just could have gotten into it like a bit sooner, but nonetheless, overall, I thought they did very well with the narrative and how they presented and stuff with all the themes. I think the narrative structure in the movie was well done. So yeah, overall, I really enjoyed Baby Girl for the most part. Like it's shot well. Like it's edited pretty well. There's genuinely believable characters in it. There's some good performances. There's some good music in the movie as well, and like overall, it tells like a good erotic thriller story, and I like how it presents these themes. And yeah, like overall, in terms of making the story feel believable and actually like being compelling, they did well enough with it. Now, as it's not perfect, I just think that we could have been paced a bit better, honestly. But nonetheless, for the most part, I really did enjoy the movie. As I said, it's not going to be for everyone, but if this movie does sound like it would be your thing, like if you do enjoy like a lot of erotic thrillers, like Fatal Attraction or Basic Instinct or stuff, if this does sound like it would be your thing, then overall I think it would definitely be worth a watch. So overall, I enjoyed this one. Yeah, safe to say, I had a good time with it. So with all that said, I'm going to give Baby Girl an 8 out of 10. So with that, I'll see you guys next time, and bye.